This is Valley News Live at 4.
Breaking news this afternoon, the man accused of strangling and brutally stabbing a 14-year-old girl in South Fargo last week says he was high on meth during the assault. 23-year-old Arthur Prince Cully is charged with the attempted murder of Jupiter Paulson, robbery and aggravated assault. Documents say Cully told investigators that he suffers from anxiety, depression, and multiple personality disorder and is currently living at Stone's Resource Center. Cully said he used meth and had not slept since using and that he didn't recall the assault. Documents say he admitted to walking in the area at the time but did not admit to harming the victim. However, he did have fresh cuts on his hands. Fargo police say they were called to 4340 13th Avenue South Thursday morning after documents say a garbage man was driving through the parking lot and witnessed Cully leaning over the victim. The witness stated Cully had one hand on the teenage victim. Video surveillance shows Cully spent around 25 minutes assaulting the victim before running away. Documents say Jupiter had suffered approximately 25 stab wounds, among other injuries. The victim was intubated and required surgery. This morning, Jupiter's father told Valley News Live that Jupiter is too far gone and likely won't make it. The heat is still on. On Friday, we told you it was so hot outside that roads started to heave. Today, crews are still working. Open by the end of the workday tomorrow. Several other roads in town are being impacted and some other dangerous weather conditions are now on the way. Here's Hutch with the latest. Hutch.
Thanks, Stacy. Bumpy roads, bumpy skies. We do have a risk of severe weather as we go into the evening and overnight hours. The areas you see highlighted in yellow are highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. And this is a level 2 out of a 5 scale risk of severe weather. So the risk is fairly low. And the most likely thing that we're going to see tonight is going to be damaging straight line winds as the storms move from south central North Dakota through the valley and into northern Minnesota tonight. And we could have some large hail with those as well. Take a look at the heat. It is on down south, 101 in Pierre, 97 in Bismarck. A warm front is positioned in these areas. When storms initiate, that's when the risk will be greatest for an isolated tornado. But your storm team has you covered. We have Eric Whitehill out, and he is going to be positioned in place to monitor storms as they develop. We'll be the first to let you know as things go on. Here's a position of the warm front. So looking at the moisture with these systems, not here yet. Look how dry it is up north. Dew points in the 30s won't bring much in the way of rain. But these 60-degree dew points and better are at the South Dakota border. Here's where the initiation of storms is most likely, and they will track to the north and east tonight. Best chance in Fargo is late, the way I'm looking at it now, as temperatures sneak into the 80s. Grand Forks, you have a chance of storms as well, but it's more likely in the south. We'll have an hour-by-hour detail of where these storms are tracking coming up here in just a few moments.
All right, Hutch, thanks so much. Fargo police say the man pulled from the Red River over the weekend is 33-year-old Dane Sayers. Just before 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, officers were sent to the area of a cemetery at 2102 5th Street South. Police say the body of Sayers was pulled from the river. They're awaiting the results of his autopsy. A Michigan man will spend more than a decade in jail for bringing drugs into North Dakota and distributing opiates. This morning, a U.S. judge sentenced 32-year-old Mario Garmu to 15 years in federal prison. He was caught with nearly 100 oxycodone pills and a pound of marijuana in his car back in 2019. Investigators found that he had distributed hundreds of those pills, mostly in and around the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation. Garmu is a career offender under the U.S. sentencing guidelines based on 2 prior drug trafficking convictions. A contractor from Fergus Falls will pay nearly $2 million in damages for using unauthorized materials in federally funded road projects. The U.S. District Attorney's Office says Mark Sand and Gravel is accused of violating federal and state False Claims Acts. The DA alleges the company worked on 3 projects near Detroit Lakes between 2013 and 2015 and say the company used unauthorized materials like waste and shale rock instead of gravel and lied to the federal government about it. They've agreed to pay $1.75 million to settle the allegations. 5 teenagers are hurt after a crash, and state troopers say alcohol was a factor. It happened just after 11 last night on a county road west of Wadena. The state patrol says the car driven by 18-year-old Selma Pardo of Bertha, Minnesota, drove into a ditch and vaulted. She and 2 passengers, ages 14 and 15, were taken to the Wadena hospital. 2 other girls, also ages 14 and 15, were rushed to Fargo. There's no word on the condition of any of the victims. A big day for Gigas Playhouse in Fargo. They got the keys this afternoon to their new temporary location. This temporary location will allow them to provide limited programming for the rest of the summer. The Fantastic Friends adult group just got together for the first time since fire destroyed the old location on May 11th. This week they're launching the Gigas Fit program for infants and toddlers. Their Rebuild the Playhouse Fund is still going strong and still taking donations. If you'd like to help, go to the Gigas Fargo website. More than 1,000 people were in Mahnomen today to protest construction of Enbridge's Line 3 replacement pipeline. Indigenous people and those in support of the movement they led are fighting to protect the land and water that the pipeline is planned on running through. The multi-billion-dollar project from Enbridge would carve a path right between 3 reservations near Bemidji. Tribal and environmental groups are worried about what could happen should any part of the pipeline leak. Protesters are calling for Minnesota elected officials and President Biden to shut down Line 3 to protect treaties, water, and climate. Travel restrictions between the U.S. and the U.K. may be on their way out. The CEO of Virgin Atlantic is among many others today, calling on Prime Minister Boris Johnson and President Joe Biden to reopen travel between the two countries this week.
And yet we've been closed for over a year now, and that's costing just in the UK alone over £23 million every single day. And that's not just about the loss of revenue to our countries. It's also about jobs that are at risk, hundreds of thousands of jobs at risk if we don't get the transatlantic corridor reopened.
Scott Kirby, the CEO of United Airlines, also said all the CEOs on today's call support requiring travelers to be either vaccinated or tested for COVID-19. Pools in Fargo are now open and many people are out beating the heat. The pools will run at 75% capacity this summer. Swimmers are encouraged to arrive with swimsuits already on to help limit the number of people in locker rooms. The Dilworth pool also opened at 1 today. Moorhead opened 6 wading pools on Saturday and will open their big pool Wednesday at 12:30. As you head to the pool or lake to cool off, the YMCA is offering classes for kids and adults focused on safety in the water. Kids as young as 6 months old can take swimming lessons. Even if your child knows how to swim, make sure they're within arm's reach or have a swimming buddy. And if they fall in, make sure they know not to panic. Floating on your back and kicking your feet can help you stay afloat.
Natural reaction, of course, is to panic. We'll start clawing towards that surface of the water. It's really important that we try to stay calm. It'll help us float up much easier, so that way we can make it to the side.
The YMCA has more than 100 class times to choose from, both in morning and afternoon. They're also hosting a community-wide water safety day from 9 to 11 a.m. on Friday. All ages are welcome. Starting today, children up to 18 years old can pick up a meal thanks to Moorhead schools and the YMCA. Breakfast and several parks and elementary schools in Moorhead or at the YMCA on Monday and Thursday. Special diet meals are available too. Just contact the Food Services Department. We have all the pickup times and locations listed on our website, valleynewslive.com. Lots of events to consider and get signed up for ahead of the inaugural Roger Maris AllStar Week. It kicks off 1 week from today and includes free youth sports camps, a celebrity golf tournament, and a community event. Here's a list of events. The sports camps are free for kids, so take a look at the list and get them signed up. The celebrity golf tournament returns for the 37th year and has been transformed into a week-long event. A community celebration is happening at Island Park next Thursday, the 17th. And the Red Hawks are playing a commemorative game on Friday wearing throwback uniforms of the Northern League's FM Twins, which Maris played for in 1953. There's much more information at rogermarisweek.com. 100% of funds raised will stay local and help build upon the programs and services at the Roger Maris Cancer Center. Coming up, how the pandemic is affecting not just people, but also sea life.
But next, we're watching weather tonight that could bring some severe storms for some of us. I'll have the hour-by-hour forecast on when the storms are expected to start and where they're expected to travel next. Highs today a little cooler north, but still sizzling 90s south and southwest. I'll have details next.